Hey everybody, O'Grady here. Today we're talking about tipping. Yeah, it's gotten out of control. Used to be in the old days, the only place tips were ever left was when you went to a restaurant, not just to buy a cup of coffee. And where was I the other day? Some coffee shop, not Starbucks, mind you, some other coffee shop, ordered a cafe con leche. They spun the iPad around, and then I had the option to tip 10%, 15%. I think it was 25 was the other option. So, oh wow, I didn't want to be the guy not tipping, so I picked the one in the middle. But come on, it's out of control, right? If you've eaten out, grabbed a coffee, or just bought a bottle of water, you've probably noticed tipping is everywhere. And if you're feeling a little fed up, maybe even sheepish because you're not tipping, you're not alone. The Wall Street Journal just ran a piece called "Tipping is Everywhere," and consumers, yeah, us, are fed up. Here's how some are coping. And let me tell you, it hit a nerve. So let's break down what's going on, why everyone's talking about it, and how folks, well, maybe even you, are pushing back. I think we're calling it tipping fatigue. Yeah, you're sick and tired of it? Why are we so over it? First off, Americans are tipping less. Not because we've suddenly turned stingy, but because we're being asked to tip for everything. Fetching a bottle of water? Come on, there's a tip screen for that. Ordering takeout? Yeah, tip screen. It feels like the only place you're safe is your own kitchen. And even then, I think there's toasters out now that ask for a tip to toast your toast, toast your bread. And it's not just the frequency, it's the way we're being asked. Those digital prompts, the big, bold, spinning iPads, yeah, they're everywhere. They suggest 20, 25, even 30% tips sometimes, and they do it right in front of everyone. And you don't want to feel like the odd guy out and not tip, right? It's like being on a game show, and the only prize is, well, just awkwardness, or you don't want to feel sheepish. How about the pushback? How people are coping? Well, so how are we dealing with this tipping overload? The Wall Street Journal heard from over 1,000 readers, and here's what they're doing. Well, setting higher standards. One guy, a retired executive, says service just isn't what it used to be. If the iced tea glass sits empty or the order's wrong, the tip goes down, sometimes way down. And if the service is really bad, well, he doesn't go back. And isn't that what it always used to be? You tipped for good service. Another reader says he actually whips out his phone at the end of a meal. If there's a cost of living fee, a credit card surcharge, or any other mysterious add-on, he deducts that from his tip. The article says his wife isn't a fan of that, but he's not paying extra for a restaurant's business model mistakes. All right. Another reader goes old school with cash. He's in his 70s and he just leaves cash tips because servers, he says, tell him they prefer cash. No digital splitting or spinning around stuff. No waiting for the restaurant to process it. Just a little green left on the table like we did in the old days. Some folks even pay their whole bill in cash to dodge those card surcharges. All right, another reader is drawing the line at restaurants and for personal services, but she's not tipping at the mini mart or the soap store. Wow. She remembers making $2 an hour as a waitress back in the 80s, so not against tipping per se, just against tipping for every darn thing. Another reader is eating more often at home. The person said they used to drop $200 a night out. Now it just cooks salmon at home. With restaurant prices up more than 30% since the pandemic and a pizza delivery running, $35, $40. I don't like that either. Well, she figures she can make an English muffin pizza for 50 cents and keep her tip money for herself. Not a bad idea. So why is all this happening? Why all this pushback to tipping? Well, we'll zoom out for a second. The tipping culture is everywhere. Inflation is one reason, prices are up, and people are watching their budgets. So tipping, which used to feel like a nice gesture, optional really, now feels like a demand, like another tax. And oh yeah, the technology, the digital prompts, it's making it too easy. Easy for businesses to ask for tips everywhere, even when the service is minimal or there actually is no service. You're not just tipping your server, you're tipping the person who hands you a bottle of water from the fridge right behind them. All right, some places, well, it is their business model. Some businesses are using tips to cover rising labor costs, especially where minimum wages are going up. Instead of raising menu prices, they add service fees or just prompt for higher tips. Or how about that Live Nation trying to buy a concert ticket? What are all those fees on there? Those aren't exactly tips, but that's a lot of add-ons. All right, well, I digress or get off track. All right, how about the social pressure? Those spinning screens. Yeah, they're convenient for the place. They're designed to make you feel watched. Nobody wants to be the person who hits no tip while the barista looks on because they have yet to make your coffee and might make them make it a different way. They're putting a little guilt trip on you with a touchscreen. Well, in reality, maybe it's me thinking they're watching because probably nobody's watching, but it feels like they are. It's an emotional toll. Yeah, let's be real about that. All this tipping talk isn't just about money. It's about how it makes us feel. People are reporting more discomfort at the checkout counter. Some are fighting with their spouses over how much to tip. Even the joy of eating out is getting soured by the awkwardness of figuring out who, when, and just how much to tip. Okay, it's not just me, it's not just you. Nearly 90% of Americans, the article says, think tipping culture has gone too far. That's a big jump from last year. For many, it's not about being cheap. It's about feeling pressured, confused, and sometimes even resentful. Yeah, hey, I don't mind paying for good service or paying for anything that deserves to be paid for, but the pressure to do it sometimes, hey, dude, if it wasn't already added on there, that 18% service charge, I probably would have tipped you more. Yeah, some folks wish we'd just follow Europe's lead and include the service in the meal price. Others want to see higher minimum wages for servers so tips aren't so vital. And the article says in places like Washington, D.C., they're actually phasing out the tip credit, so servers will earn a living wage without depending on tips. That could be a win-win, but it's going to take time, a big culture change there, and probably a lot more debate. All right, here's my take. Tipping should be about rewarding good service, not about plugging holes in someone else's business model. If I get great service, yeah, I'm happy to tip well. But if I'm being asked to tip for grabbing my own coffee or punching in my own order on a kiosk, yeah, no, thank you. I'm going to pass on a tip there. And if you're feeling tipping fatigue, you're not alone. Maybe you're eating out less, tipping in cash, or just saying no thanks to that spinning iPad. And that's okay. The important thing is to do what feels right for you. Who cares what anybody else thinks anyway? And to remember that at its heart, tipping is supposed to be about appreciation, not obligation. So next time you're faced with that tip screen, take a breath. Decide what feels fair. And if all else fails, there's always that English muffin pizza waiting at home. Hey, tell me what you think. Are you tipping less, more, or just differently these days? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, if you'd like to tip me, I'll take a tip. How about a subscription? Just subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next episode.